Right then, so good morning everyone. We're looking to increase the value of your recruitment business in 30 minutes. And the reason we're going to do it in 30 minutes is we're going to give you lots of ideas for how to create a USP from your CRM. There's three things that Barclay Jones do, and obviously we're giving our time away for free today, but we do charge for other fabulous services. So we'll either help you discover what technology you need in your business, we will help you decide whether or not to stick with what you've got, or twist. We have a product called Stick or Twist, a bit like poker, to decide whether or not you need to move CRM or job board posting or websites, etc. We do all of that stuff. We also work with recruitment marketeers, and I adore this part of the business, where we help them generate leads, attract talent, attract internal talent, and basically turn their sales teams into superheroes. We also work with recruiters and help them by basically training them and coaching them to become extremely effective with all of the systems and processes that they deliver within their business, because that's the one challenge that a lot of my clients are talking about this year is, how do I get more from my systems and my people? So we support recruitment leaders. We only work in recruitment. So my name's Lisa Jones. I've been running Barclay Jones now for 8 years, scarily enough, and I'm joined by Wayne. You'll hear his lovely dulcet tones in a second. Barclay and Jones, imaginatively named business. We've actually been working together as IT directors in recruitment since 2000, but we don't look a day over 12. We wish. Now, we always love giving stuff away for free, and anyone that works with us knows that one of our values is making a difference. So we are regularly creating content that isn't really around what we do in terms of tech, recruitment, training and marketing, but it is about you. So we've worked with some significant names like Greg Savage, Kevin Green, etc., to understand what they think you should stop doing this year and beyond. So if you want that ebook, and it doesn't cost a penny, and it's actually really quick, not like these bloody white papers that you see where at the end of it you've turned white because you've probably stopped breathing. So if you want that ebook, put the word stop into your chat facility and we will send it to you immediately after this webinar. Trust me, it's a good read, really, really good read. Now, I am really hot on recruiters making more money. I'm really hot on marketeers feeling safe in their roles, energized and rewarded for doing great stuff. I'm really into recruitment leaders sat thinking my business is great, and it's not just me that says that. Now, awards don't have to cost a fortune. Certainly there are free ones out there. Your time spent on awards is very, very precious as well. And so we've developed a really, really great ebook showing loads of research actually about why winning and awarding is great. And it's not just, it's lovely, but actually you can increase your pipeline by 37%. And oh my God, that's a big number. Even 10%, even 5% would be awesome. So if you want that free ebook, let us know, again, with awards. But again, even if you think, hold on, Lisa, and trust me, I don't believe what I'm about to say. They're all a fix. They take too long. They cost too much money, which, by the way, all of that is rubbish. You can still make money from awards, even by not even entering. We've got loads of great tips for the skeptics out there. I've worked in recruitment for 17 years. I'm used to dealing with objections. So please pop awards in there and we'll send that out. Now, we're here to help you make your CRM a unique selling point. And I run regular workshops with a lovely Tracy from Blue Sky PR, and she always talks about USPs. And to be frank, if you're a marketeer or a recruitment leader right now, please take a long, hard look at your business and say to yourself, if you think you've got a USP, is it really unique? And does it really sell your business? So if you've been going for 35 million years, does that really sell your business? If you're the largest business in the UK, does that really sell your business? Or do you have systems, processes, and people training programs which are just unnecessary sales profit drainers? And you can tell I was obviously scraping the barrel with that acronym. So if anyone knows me, they know I'm a bit motherly about these things, and I just want to breathe some fire back into the recruitment industry and get them to stand up a bit straighter. So I want you to have unique selling points. I want you to sit in front of your clients and say, yeah, whatever, LinkedIn, 500 million people on it, whatever. We've got 4,000 gaming professionals on our database. They only talk to us. When can we start? That to me is a massively powerful conversation. That's the sort of conversation that the recruiters I was working with in the early 2000s used to have. I'm not a fan of going back in time, but when there were good things happening, you've got to sort of say to yourself, what's changed? And what's changed is you and your clients and your competitors have all got access to all the same stuff. So it's now about speed. Speed isn't of the essence sometimes with recruitment. You can hire really crap people really, really quickly. It takes time to develop a fantastic team, and you need great recruiters to help you do that. So we want your CRM to become first on your list of things to use to drive your business. So today we're going to talk about spin. Give me a yes if you know about spin selling, or maybe you've been trained on that in your business. And I still come across recruiters who have never had spin selling training. Now, if you want to know more about spin, because I think, a little bit of a mistress of spin, that sounds a bit scary, then put the word spin in your chat facility. And as much as we don't normally widely share stuff outside of recruitment tech, I'll happily send you all the stuff that I've read that has bloody well blown my mind, and also helped me work with some of my recruiters to get really good case studies out of a spin technique and testimonials, and also sell more. So as much as we don't deliver sales training, I am still shocked that a lot of the techniques that I use to sell are not being used by the people I'm selling to. And that's a real shame, because my job is to make them more successful. So we're going to talk about spin today, and we're also going to talk about some practical tips to USP your CRM. So let's crack on. I kind of feel the need, and so does Wayne, with all the time that we spend with recruiters every day, to sell your CRM back to you, to get you buying back into it. I was part of a discussion on LinkedIn earlier this week where someone had said, well, let's face it, your CRM is a poor man's LinkedIn. And I kind of went back and went, no, it's a rich man's LinkedIn. You know, rich men, rich women, God forbid there are any out there, have lots of toys that they just buy because it's a nice thing to have and they don't really use very well. And then, you know, it gathers a bit of dust, and occasionally then it will go to St. Gemma's Hospice or the RSPCA, God forbid. I think it's a rich man's LinkedIn. I think it's the most expensive asset that you don't use in your business. I think that's absolutely crazy town. And I also think that what we've got to start doing is getting your clients, your candidates, your investors, your staff, yourselves, really rating your CRM, treating it like it actually is worth something. I don't think if Formula One, if McLaren, and I'm hoping I'm getting my brands right, built the most amazing Formula One car, I guarantee you if Lewis Hamilton got in and went, nah, don't want to drive it, the market wouldn't go, oh, but it's a great car. They'd go, oh shit, McLaren aren't going to win this year. And I was talking to a client about this yesterday, because they were saying they've spent all this money on their CRM, so, you know, they don't really have a budget left for training. And I said, so you've spent all this money on your CRM, and then Lewis Hamilton comes into your business and goes, nah, don't want to use it, which is basically what your recruiters do. And you go, oh, all right then. It don't work like that. So your recruiters are absolutely the key to your CRM being a USP, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So let's start with the first, the S from spin, which is about the situation. When you're selling to people, you've got to get them to tell you what the situation is, what their problems are within their business. And as recruiters, you obviously need to take that into consideration, and you need to get them to tell you this as well. So I'm going to start a poll up right now, and I want you to tell me the situation that you've got with what percentage of placements you actually make from your client relationship management system. So this is my view for what it's worth. Over half of you are telling us that between 10 and 30%, and let's hope it's not all of you just saying 11%, are making that many placements from their system. And my personal view is that's not enough. There will be reasons why that is, but my personal view is that's not enough. We do have some clients that have gone up to 76 or 96% after they've turned their CRM into a USP. And I really want you to think about the implication of what that means to their business. How straighter they stand waiting for the bus in the morning, how much easier their client meetings are. So just have a think about that. But the fact that nearly 20% of you don't even know makes me a bit sad. So we'll move on. Some stats for you. The situation with recruitment CRM right now is that 65% of the recruitment sector's top priority for this year is to increase profit. And obviously you could say every year it's the same. And you could even ask yourself, well, what are the other 35% trying to do? Well, they're probably trying to hire more staff, get more clients, but ultimately the majority of you want to increase profit. But what I'm finding is there's a massive dichotomy, I just don't get what's going on here, because so many vacancies are being taken and not being worked. So many adverts are being posted and the brief is pointless. And as sales leaders, we are not following up enough leads. If we're not following up 80% of our leads, what are we doing? But you have so much to work with. You have great systems potentially. You have best-in-class systems. It's never been easier to find talent. Trust me, for someone who's been in the industry for 20 years, it's never been easier. But interestingly, the recruitment leaders out there tell us, most of them tell us, that the CRM is first on their list of things. They assume that all recruiters out there are using it first. But when we've spoken to their teams, and we've done a lot of work in this over the last 20 years, only 17% of recruiters admit that the CRM is the first place they go. Leads are not being added to the CRM until they turn into vacancies. Candidates are not being added to the CRM until they've been interviewed or even placed, God damn it. And so we have some challenges. And ultimately what lies at the middle of this? We're not training our staff. Now, I'm not here to constantly pitch training because obviously we all know that that's what we do. But this is the crux of the problem. We're buying expensive kit and not learning how to drive it. Now, I'm not going to share the answers that you're going to give me, but I am interested to know what kinds of CRM, because sometimes I come across weird and wonderful ones that in the 20 years I've been in the business I've never seen before. So can you go into your chat facility, please, and tell me which CRM you're using? And like I say, I'm not going to be sharing this information with anyone. I'm intrigued. Keep an old lady happy, please. Right, I've just spotted one that I've not seen for a while. I've spotted 3 that I've not seen for a while. And someone's moving, and the people that are moving, good decision. Good decision. Just, you know, give yourself a bit of a pat on the back and have a croissant. It's Friday. Yeah, there's a couple of people moving. Everyone that's moving are moving to good bits of kit. That's all I'll say. Someone's using 2. Not going to say a word about that. That's often the biggest problem that we see is people are almost like addicted to the previous version. It's like trying to be on a diet and eating chips at the same time. And by the way, we could also do analogy bingo today because I'm full of it. Right. Some more stats for you. The work that we did with clients in 2016 told us that 80% of the placements they made last year, the candidates were already on the CRM, but they'd spent flipping ages looking for them elsewhere. I've got a case study for you in a second. But at the same time, your staff are telling you that 60% or 60% of them are telling us that they can't find decent talent. And I'm like, because it's, look, it's right in front of you. And at the same time, nearly 50% of the market are like, yeah, CRM, what's the point? They're not receiving training that gets them passionate about it. So we're with a client at the moment, we've just won a new client. And the reason we've won them is the training that they had before was like, here's how to use the system. Whereas we're going to go in and go, this is going to change your lives, mate. This is going to make you some money. This is going to speed up the time that you spend on LinkedIn. And by the way, the average recruiter in the UK spends 50% of their day sourcing. Oh, flipping heck. I want them to be on the phone for that long. I want them to be meeting people. I want them to be marketing themselves. So it's worth considering all these stats because this is the situation they're in. And interestingly, I was speaking to a client of ours the other day and they have just switched systems and we're rolling those systems out for them. And they admitted that they'd done a bit of an audit recently and they'd taken 8 weeks to fill a job. And they'd sourced the candidate from the job board and it was for a contract role. A contract role took 8 weeks to fill with a candidate that had actually been on their system for 16 weeks. And he was just like, oh, seriously? And I just went, there will be more of this. And I actually think he's on the webinar, so I'm not going to mention his name. But I want you to dig deep again and say to yourself, is this you? Is there a risk here? Are we asking enough questions to tell ourselves the true situation? We genuinely think you've got enough data. You've probably got enough systems. You are rich beyond your wildest dreams, but you are information, candidate, and loyal client poor. And I really want you to think about what that means. You're surrounding yourselves with beautiful stuff, but you can't see the wood for the trees. 86% of you told Deloitte and AppsCo last year through, and by the way, if you've not downloaded AppsCo's annual report that they run with Deloitte, it is fascinating reading in terms of how recruitment leaders are feeling about their businesses in 2017 and what they're going to do differently. And they're telling us that 86% say that new technology is going to help them grow. And I'm looking at that as a technologist, someone who's very passionate about people using stuff to get home quicker to see their kids. But I say to them, don't you have enough already? So what I often do when we go in and we do what's called a CRM discovery, we come and have a look at what you've got. We come and have a look at all of the other tech. And we get you to grade yourselves out of 10 as to how effectively you're using it. Because you tell us that you might want to buy some more. And often the conclusion is, you're not using what you've got well enough. What's going to change when you buy new kit? So just have a think about that. So the next thing we're going to talk about, and I'm going to give you to Wayne now, is the P for problems. So what problems might be occurring as a result of the situation that you're in?
Hi everybody, great for you to be online. Thank you very much for coming in and listening to us. So the first thing that I want to talk about are the problems, and the problems are the ones that we regularly go and speak to our clients about, and they always basically provide the similar sort of answers. But first and foremost, I want you to ask yourself and tell us, what issues do you currently have with your CRM system? So if you can use your chat facility and give me some indication as to exactly what sort of issues you get.
Poorly optimized, incomplete records. Recruiter engagement is a massive problem. It is the crux of all of this. It doesn't integrate with marketing and finance. And you know what? This is something we see a lot. My personal view is I don't think the recruitment tech market has been challenged enough by recruiters to be awesome. That's not to say there isn't some great kit out there, but our expectations have been too low. And all of a sudden we're catching up. So there's boring to look at. And you know what? As much as I might go, it kind of makes sense. Loads of stuff coming out in here. We'll read some more out later. Thank you so much. You're really engaging, lovely.
So some of the challenges and the problems that we always get asked are, how can I make more money from my system? How is it I'm investing in my system but not getting anything from it? How is it what is it my consultants are focused on? So why is it my consultants are saying they're using the system, but actually when I look at the management information coming at their end, it's all jumbled up and nobody really trusts the system. Some other problems as well that we get a regular update on is that, as Lisa's already mentioned, there's very little engagement. Lisa gave a great analogy earlier on about Lewis Hamilton. Businesses are really good at buying training but very poor at investing in their staff. So Lewis Hamilton would not have had 1 or 2 days worth of training. He would have had a career's worth of investment and always targeting specific aspects of what he does. So going into a corner straight, braking, etc., etc. These are all areas whereby in the recruitment life cycle, you can look at candidate engagement, you can look at new business development. There are areas and similarities there whereby you continuously need to be involving consultants and your business and improving in that aspect. And just having a sort of an hour's worth of training isn't necessarily going to fix that. Everyone says it's rubbish because nobody's engaging with it, and on top of that, there's no responsibility as well. There's no ownership of the CRM system. People are given their training and then they're just told to get on and do it, and the management information that comes out of it, people say that it's not ideal. So therefore everyone goes, I'll tell you what, let's go over there and let's create some spreadsheets which give us that information. Whereas ideally what management should be doing is driving people into that system, and there needs to be this culture. Option paralysis, there are a huge amount of other systems out there. We regularly get contacted and said, we've got too many options, where should we go? What is it we need to do? And we'll come on to ideas around how we can improve that, especially around the consultants jumping in and out of systems, integrations, and on top of that, regular training is the most expensive asset. Leading to increased reliance and expense on external systems. You're training your consultants to jump around and be involved in lots of different systems, which is not an ideal scenario. Okay, implications. What are these implications of these problems?
Thanks, Wayne. So from a spin perspective, if you're selling again, you're at this stage going to get the client to admit, what are the implications if they carry on like this? What does this mean to their pipeline? What does this mean to their staff retention? So for implication, tell me what you think the implications are if you don't turn your CRM into a USP. What's going to happen to the future of your business? What do you think is likely to happen?
We've done a lot of research on this, worked with clients over the years, and we found out, and they have confirmed through lots of talking with them, that they're spending 50% of their day sourcing from external systems. And you've got to think about how much that's costing you, because as much as we do some fantastic LinkedIn training, and again, we're big fans of the system, if you're spending 50% of your day sourcing from it and you're using a free system, you're spending money. And if your average recruiter salary is 20 or 30k basic plus on cost, the cost of the seat they're sat on, the bacon sandwiches they're eating on a Friday morning, then you've got to take that basic salary, split it in half, and that's how much you're spending on external systems. And I think what often happens is we separate all of the costs out and we don't see them as directly affecting the placement cost, but it really, really is, or the missed placement costs. So really think about the implication of your CRM not being first and what that means from a money perspective. And never think that your time is free. It is your most expensive asset.
From a time perspective, obviously, I'm very keen to understand and help my clients understand how time-consuming it is being crap at systems. God forbid. And sometimes when we go in and start our training and coaching around being awesome at your desk, we often find people are sent on the training is bought for them, a bit like a rich bloke sends someone out to buy a nice scarf for his wife. It's like I'm abdicating responsibility for my staff's learning. If you know anything about training, you'll know that there's a 10-20-70 rule, and I can send you some information on this outside of this session. That put 10-20-70 in your chat box if you're interested in how people learn. I'll send you some stuff if you want to have a glass of wine and read it. But 10% of what people do at their desk, they have been shown in a training room. The next 20% the managers are enforcing, and the next 70%, and this is the scary stat, is what's happening around them when they get back to their desk. And I don't know about you, but when I go into deliver training, or my team go in to deliver training, the one thing I try and get the managers to do is set regular homework, KPIs around the training. They don't have to be permanent, but certainly for the next 20 days, because that's how long it takes to form a habit. I expect to see positive, structured messages on walls, not just sell more, but here are the key words that we want you to put in your adverts. For example, if they've had our fantastic adverts training course, or this is what we want you to stop doing this year, this is what we want you to start doing this year, or CRM first, all over the flipping place, just to remind these lovely people of the priorities for the business for that month. So it really, really looks like a lot of you actually want to know more about this, so I can send some stuff. But I also want you to think about, as managers, etc., how much time you're spending on managing performance. I hear this too often. They're not using the systems properly. And obviously, we're looking at whiteboards and Excel spreadsheets and stuff. But actually, a lot of the newer CRMs out there will massively help you manage performance, but only if the performance is being actively managed on the system. So you've really got to think about that. The other implication from a time perspective is obviously how much time it takes to fill a vacancy. And if the average, or 33% of the vacancies on the market right now, are still open after 3 months, that's 3 months of revenue that you've not made. That's 3 months of sourcing that you've wasted time on. That's 3 months of time where your candidate's looking at you and going, you told me you were a niche accountancy recruiter. You're not doing it for me. So have a think about, please, the implication that bad CRM is having on your business. Think about loyalty from candidates and clients. So don't you want better clients? I get some people saying, I don't need any more clients. You always need more clients, everyone. You always do. You just want the ones that you have to pay quicker, pay more, and with a smile on their face, and actually have a relationship with you rather than an invoice transaction. And obviously, if you've watched Jerry Maguire, and you'll know I always talk about this, you want your candidates to totally rely on you, because again, I get a little bit fed up with the recruitment world telling me that they want their candidates to be more loyal, but doing absolutely nothing to increase their loyalty. So have a think about how your CRM can do that. And recruiter loyalty, oh God, 61% of recruiters told AppsCo last year that that was their biggest challenge. But at the same time, these 61% of leaders potentially aren't investing enough in not just systems, but in the training of those systems, because humans are the ones that make systems work. So we've got to think about 50% of the people that work in your business right now look at your systems and go, meh, what's the point? It's not great for morale, people. You can buy them as many beers as you like and send them to Marbella. It's all fantastic. But the 10 hours that they're sat at their desk every day, that's the bit you need to improve first. They'll love you for it. And obviously, and this is a big Wayne bugbear because he's been in IT for a very long time, if your data's not secure, because it's all over the web, yeah, it's on LinkedIn, it's on a job board, it's on a spreadsheet, it's on Outlook, it's in spreadsheets, it's in Bullhorn and Broadbean and all those other systems. How secure is that? So just have a think about that. So I want you to imagine the impact of a CRM as a USP. We spoke to someone yesterday who has turned their CRM into a CRM first process. It's not that they're only using CRM. I must stress this. I'm a massive LinkedIn fan. Anyone who's read my reports on it knows I think it's a bloody awesome bit of kit. But I also know where it sits in the workflow, and it should never sit at the front of it. If you use your CRM first, and you're this client that we've been working with, 33 days to make a placement in the previous life, now reduced to 17. And the recruitment leaders in the world will be looking at this and getting their calculators out. But let's just make this easy. You're doubling your jobs placed, you're doubling the candidates placed, you're doubling your clients, you're doubling your fees, and you're probably going to have some massively healthy profits, which means your finance director will finally have a smile on their face. The marketing team will be going, thank God for that. And everyone gets very emotional, which is kind of how recruitment should be, because it's all about people. So Wayne's now going to talk to you about the need for payoff, and we're going to give you some fantastic tips, so stay tuned.
Okay, so do you have a CRM first culture? And if you don't, and you would like it, what impact would that potentially have on your business? If you want to jump into the chat facility and just have to drop me a very quick message as to what impact a CRM first culture would have within your business, that would be great. Okay, so the way I will always look at CRM first cultures is you want to make your CRM a USP. What does that not just mean to you as a business, but what does that mean to your clients? What does that mean to your recruiters and your candidates and also your prospective investors, those people who are thinking about exit strategies? So first and foremost, your clients, well, they will know that actually your time to fill should be much more reduced. You're always supplying good quality candidates. You're not supplying the same level of candidates that everyone else is finding in the same job pools that are found on job boards and LinkedIn. Therefore, you actually provide a bit more of a qualitative candidate rather than just a quantitative candidate. So in theory, if you're using your CRM more productively as well, your consultants and your business will know more about your clients. They'll have better intelligence around what your clients are trying to achieve. You'll also have much more information from a recruiter perspective around actually what is a live vacancy as opposed to a speculative vacancy. The number of clients that I ask how many live vacancies you've got on your books, in your CRM system, they go, we've got hundreds of live vacancies. Yeah, but how many are you placing and how many are genuinely live vacancies that you're going to be able to place into? The percentage of that is much smaller than it actually is. Okay, so if you want a CRM first culture, there are three specific aspects that you need to focus on. You need to look at people. You need to look at how your people are engaging with the system and also what challenges they're currently having. You need to look at the processes and whether or not your consultants are following processes or whether or not your CRM needs to be changed to affect how your processes should work. And on top of that, you need to look at the technology and you need to look at how people are using that technology and whether or not there are integrations that need to be introduced in order to automate the stuff that your consultants either don't do or don't want to do. So people. People to have more involvement in a CRM first culture, you have to improve the discipline of your users, and that can only come from management. Management should be the gatekeepers of the system. They're the gatekeepers of the management information that's stored within that. If your managers are naturally turning around to you and going, it's all right, we'll just create a spreadsheet, then they are not helping your organization to drive information into your CRM system and not promoting that CRM first culture. You also need to understand specifically who are really, really good people at using the system and who are great billers, and is there a correlation between those two things. So great billers generally are not massively brilliant users of the CRM system. However, they do have process, and it's whether or not then you take that process and overlay that across the rest of the business. And as I've mentioned previously, when we come on to technology, we'll look at whether or not some of those processes can be automated. You also want to maximize the return on investment of the technology that you've got, which we'll come on to in a second. Process. How many of your processes are broken? How many of your processes do people not fully understand when they're using the CRM system? We took this the analogy a second ago of Lewis Hamilton. He's had a lifetime of training. How many days does he spend learning how to brake the car at a specific point, at a specific corner, on a specific course? He does it almost every single day. It's always being reinforced with him, and it's up to your consultants to help really sort of drive that knowledge. But certainly from a process perspective, it's really important that people understand what the basics are. What are the key critical components of the recruitment lifecycle, and how does that relate to your CRM system? So when you have a first interview with your client, is that process categorically every single time run through the CRM system, and is the output of that automated to help your consultants through that automation process? The other thing to look at as well from a process perspective, and this is really important, is what management information do you want? Lots of businesses that I go into, they say, we don't really have KPIs. We just, people just get on with it, and so long as they hit the sales target, it's absolutely fine. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're driving people to use a CRM system. Dashboards, management information that help consultants manage their day, the ones that they can look at online themselves, are really good ways of helping consultants to manage the process, because you are recording and reporting on activities across the business at specific points within the CRM recruitment process. Okay, technology. I've got a client who's massively into consultants are lazy or they just can't be asked to do some things. So on that basis, his view is that you should automate as much as possible. And I'm a massive believer of whereby consultants don't have time, or they say they don't have time, or whereby potentially they're unable to spend the time completing a process, then you either give that to another team whose responsibility it is, or alternatively, you automate the process. So giving it to another team. For example, in one instance, I've got one client whereby finance are the only people that are allowed to create companies in the CRM system. Now that's a bit controversial, but for them it works really, really well. The data is filled out on a form, goes through to the finance team. They check the system to see whether the client's already on there. If it is, they inform the consultant. It immediately stops consultants just willy-nilly updating the database with a new client because they can't be bothered looking. So there is a small process, but again, it helps the culture of the business understand that data is really, really important. Identifying what is your most important and most valuable data within the system is really, really important. Looking at the CRM and looking at whereby the candidates and the clients that get added to the system and identifying whereby there is a huge amount of data that doesn't need to be added is really, really important. So if you have systems which are set up that are automatically adding every single available candidate into your database, there could be an argument to say that you're not adding value into your database, so should you turn those systems off? I certainly think there's a discussion to be had around either separating that database out, allowing the consultants to look at speculative data as opposed to good quality data is really, really important. And talking about automated processes as well, when your consultants do make placements or when they do run an activity through the system, allowing the system to automatically update their calendar with follow-up events, it's a really good way of getting consultants to focus around what the process needs to be. Updating their calendar also ensures that if they're away, then somebody else can pick up and therefore you don't disappoint a candidate or you don't disappoint a client. It's then the manager's responsibility to say, right, what should have John or Jenny have done today? It's my responsibility to pick that up and run through it next. Okay, so we're now going to look at some practical tips of using your CRM system, and I'm going to pass you over to Lisa for this.
We've obviously been working from a CRM first perspective for 17 years. And as much as we are massively into marketing, we do appreciate that CRM should sit at the heart of it. Systems like Broadbean, LinkedIn, websites should drive people to the CRM, really great people onto the CRM. They should drive great leads onto the CRM, and then the CRM is where all the work happens. That's not to say that recruiters shouldn't be using those other systems because they are extremely credible, but what we're finding is they're using everything all of the flipping time, and it's just a mess. And we just assume that the younger recruiters in the room know what they're doing because they seem to be able to walk down the street and text without getting run over, whereas actually, bless them, they've probably not been shown the process by which you make a great placement really, really quickly. So I think my view has always been you should generate addiction, and I was going through Instagram the other day, as you do. Love Instagram. It's actually my favorite social media platform, and this flipping thing popped up on the right hand side. Global Bullhorn Day. Now, I'm not here to plug Bullhorn. It's just that's what popped up. And you can see the company. I'm not going to mention them either. But they have had this week, globally, no LinkedIn, no job boards, just our database, which actually got me thinking, not perfume, not coloured, just kind, which is obviously the old mantra for simple if you're a girl, if you remember that, or maybe you're just old like me. But that's what recruitment should be. It should be simple. And I know that another partner of ours soon is coming out with some content soon about keeping recruitment simple, because it is actually a very simple process, often muddied by technology. So I really want you to think about the impact that something like this could have. So we want you to generate addiction, because actually most of your staff probably have quite addictive personalities, so they'll love this. First proper tip is what we want you to be thinking about is obviously get this CRM first process in everyone's faces, because, and this is the rub, this isn't just about the IT bods thinking, oh, it's great, everyone's using our CRM. It's your clients going, that data's only in one place. Some of it might be on LinkedIn, but the bits I need access to are on John Smith's CRM system. And yeah, he might charge more than the other recruiter, but he's going to sort this out a lot quicker for me, and the candidate's going to stay with me longer. Did you know that 4% of talent quits on the first day of their job? That's not a good stat. So as recruiters, you need to have loyal, great candidates on your systems that are going to stay with the client at least until your terms can't be invoked anymore. Don't you want your candidates to call you first? Every recruiter that I speak to suffers from some sort of candidate problem, candidate confidence, whatever you want to call it. And actually most recruitment leaders I work with at some stage in their recruitment career need investment from investors. And at the moment, the market's buoyant as hell. Lots of investors looking to invest. They're quite spoilt for where to invest in. So don't you want to be at the top of that tree? And obviously 61% of you are telling us that you want more recruiters in your business. So you need to say to those recruiters that come in the door, yeah, we've got all this tech that causes you so many problems. Yeah, we've got it. But actually, you're going to come in and run an account for us, and all the candidates you could possibly imagine are there. They're coded. Our marketing team send them nurture emails every week. We give you lists of people to call that come back from those nurture emails. It's glorious. That's my dream for recruitment. The next tip for you is something very, very close to Rose, one of my fabulous trainers, Hart and Wayne, which is creating speed dating by skill coding. Coding is, oh God, even the word just makes me want to justify my existence. But coding is sexy, because if you can speed up your process and match people to jobs as they come in, rock and roll. Your job is to code candidates, vacancies and contacts. Your job is to match these people up. It's not to spend all day sourcing. It's not to spend all day persuading people to come out of their role. Yeah, that should be the easy bit. The rest of it is then guiding them through the channel to get to the other side and sending that invoice out. So please think about your skills codes, and can we all as an industry please stop coding people up according to what John Smith wanted 15 years ago, who's no longer with the business.
In relation to codes as well, it's really important to make sure that you keep your codes simple. A number of clients that have hundreds of codes because they feel that they need to actually list every single job category, every single job title, whereas actually what you want to be doing is trying to keep your codes as high level as possible. Codes are there to try and narrow down the search as quickly as possible. They're not there to identify immediately exactly who or which candidates are going to be right for the job. The other thing about codes as well, to make sure you have change management in place. There are so many people always requesting they want to update their codes, or they need this skill adding. It's really important that you have a board of people who are responsible for making that change or making that decision as to whether or not those codes are changed. If you leave it to your IT bod, they are normally quite easily influenced by the consultants and say it's going to revolutionize the way in which I work. The other thing as well, to cleanse your data on a more regular basis. So look at your codes. Don't just add a code and then leave it, because that's how you end up with huge amounts of codes. Have a report which regularly details what codes are being used and which ones aren't. And if they're not being used, remove them. It's very, very simple.
Wayne obviously gets a bit worried about when I start talking about sexy in the workplace. So making data sexy, again, your recruiters are very intelligent people and they need motivating, and having sessions where they're coding up candidates isn't really going to help them. But actually making it easy, making it rewarding, making it having a sticker chart, God's sake, or money related to how clean their data is, and having league tables around the impact of that data that it's having on the business is absolutely key. So think about putting all of your fields on one page, or all important fields on one page, because you've got to make their jobs as easy as possible. There's too much clicking and throwing, toing and froing on CRM, and obviously most CRMs can be configured. Don't go crazy, please, because the minute you configure it too much, you are then beholden to it. But just have these minimum data standards. Get people thinking that it's their job to do it. This isn't administration, this is sales. I also want you to think about, and this is what I see often in marketing as well, that we don't have targets. We have figures, but we don't have target clients, we don't have target candidates, we don't have target jobs. What we do is we take what we're given, and I'm not convinced that that's a sustainable platform for recruitment to work in. You know, we've got to get back into, I'm going to chase you until you give me your vacancy because I am the right person to place this. We want to build loyalty back into the sector. I want recruitment leaders to be proud of the businesses they run. I want recruitment consultants to not like all of the negative publicity that you see that some other of my, in inverted commas, peers on LinkedIn regularly share about how crap recruiters tend to be. You'll never hear me say that. I just think they can do better. So I want recruiters to build lists of candidates that they can regularly nurture, that build lists of candidates they can give to their marketeers and say, Jane, you're my marketing manager. Those 100 people, I need them to hear about what it's the top things to do in an accountancy practice in 2017. Can you help me with this? Because I need to keep them awake. Or Jane, these are my 100 contractors that are out at the moment. What are we doing to keep them happy so when they come up for renewal, I'm not struggling to get them back into this brand? Think about this, please. You've got to start targeting these people rather than just transacting. Please think about protecting your data. Again, CRM equals data and process and people, but you've got to set boundaries. And I would absolutely recommend that you have a gatekeeper in your business who is a fussy monkey. I used to be one. I kind of still am. But when I was an IT director of a 150-person recruitment business, our data was 95% clean. Now, I must stress, it wasn't that every field was filled into 95%. It was the fields that we thought were sellable data, searchable data, convertible data was 95% clean. And what we found is when recruiters left that business to go elsewhere, they were pretty much castrated. Not actually, maybe they were realistic, it was like the firm, but they were really restricted in their ability to deliver their role because the data was what helped them, didn't make them, helped them speed up their processes. Please do a quick ready reckon. How are people storing their data? You would be absolutely surprised in lieu of a policy where this stuff is going, even in today's market. Just put some value on your data, please. Otherwise, your clients won't. And then they'll be looking at what you're looking at, which is LinkedIn, job boards, and advert responses. You need to ring fence this stuff and even keep it secret from your clients. And then, and this is a big bugbear of Wayne's, I'm going to give this to him because he talks a lot about this.
Okay, we've already mentioned that recruitment businesses are data rich but analysis poor. You obtain a huge amount of data from candidates, from clients. Some of that data goes into the CRM system, some of it doesn't. Probably a lot of it doesn't. A lot of it probably goes into spreadsheet. It goes into people's heads. It goes into their mobile phone. It goes into Word documents, whereby you've done a pitch maybe and you've collated all this wonderful information, and then the next time you come to bids and tenders, all of a sudden that information is completely forgotten about. If it was in the CRM system, therefore, and you're able to run reports on that, or you're able to have somebody who's able to dial in and actually run specific reports and grab data out of it, you'd be a much more rich company, and you'd be a much more data analysis rich company as well. So analyzing your data is really, really important. I love the story that Dan McGuire tells when he came to sell Broadbean and why he set up Cube 19 as well, which was to summarize, when the accountancy firm came in to Broadbean, they said, "Oh, you obviously spotted the fact that the global financial crisis was about to happen." And Dan sort of sits there and shakes his head and says, "No, I don't understand that at all," because they have hundreds of thousands of jobs going through their database, and what they weren't necessarily doing at that precise moment in time was analyzing that data. You as a business, you have a huge amount of vacancies that's coming through your database as well. You have a huge amount of information, if it's captured correctly, about the salary details of that information. And if you're a niche business, then you're in a prime location to start analysing where salaries are going in specific regions, in specific job categories. So then your consultants are able to relay this information onto your consultants. When they say that we want to pay somebody 12 grand a year, and your consultants go, "Oh, okay then," immediately what your data should be telling you, and your consultants should be relaying onto your clients is, well, actually, we're not going to get the level of candidate you want. In the north, the information is X, and in the south, the information is Y. That makes you a much more valuable partner than it does than just basically nodding your head and say, "We'll try and get that." It may happen, it may not.
Okay, so to wrap up 6 points, create your CRM culture or CRM first culture. Create some speed dating with codes, because the idea is you want to get through them really super quick. Make data sexy again. God forbid we bring out Justin Timberlake to croon at you. That'd be quite nice, actually. Nurture your top talent. Please nurture it. Don't just place it. Protect your data, because it is absolutely the thing that you're going to flog to your clients and your investors and other recruiters when you interview them. And obviously analyze it, because that's going to make you lean and mean. And all of my recruitment clients want to do that this year. So give me some feedback, ladies and gents. What are you taking away from this? What are you going to do differently now? What have you been inspired to think about? What other ideas maybe have we not discussed? Because bless, we've only had like 45 minutes. Thanks for all the feedback. Okay, so what we're interested in now is, do you want to turn your CRM into a USP? If you want to have a chat with us outside of this session about what you're trying to do or get some more ideas, please put the word chat into your chat facility, chat on the chat, and we'll drop you an email and arrange a call with you outside of this session. Also, please bear in mind that we have lots of other free stuff that you can use, because we love giving stuff away. So we've obviously got a blog at barclayjones.com, so you can subscribe to the blog. We've got some great recruitment videos on our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that. And we've got a really good Recruitment Leaders podcast. Every week or two, we talk to a really cool recruitment leader and talk to them about the challenges they might be having, how they're solving them, about 20, 25 minutes, some as low as 15 minutes, but some really good tips for you lovely people out there to become more successful. We really hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you very much. Certainly there's a lot of energy in the room right now. I'm going to have to go and do a bit of yoga to calm down. Thanks to Wayne for spending his time on the session this morning. Thanks to Rhiannon in marketing for running the session as well. And have a fabulous weekend, everyone. Thanks again for your time. We'll follow this with a video so you can send this to your friends and family, she says. Take care, everyone.